Hi everyone, this is Courtney from Ruby Red Farm. Today we're going to be discussing molting in chickens and what you can do about it. Before we dive in, make sure to hit like and subscribe. We appreciate your guys' support. This video will be covering how to tell if your chickens are molting and also what you can do as a chicken owner to kind of alleviate that struggle for your chickens. Like normal though guys, let's just dive right in. So when you have an adult hen, every year they're going to molt once per year. This typically is going to happen in late summer, early fall, and it's triggered by the decrease in daylight. This is a survival mechanism for chickens because what they're doing is they're shedding their old feathers that may be a little worn out, and they're getting new feathers that are fluffier and healthier to make them ready for winter. If you have hens that were spring chicks, they should not be molting that first year. As a general rule, they're going to skip molt their first year, and then every year after that they will molt on schedule in late summer or early fall. So how can you tell if your chickens are molting? One of the most common things you're going to notice is you're going to start seeing feathers all over the place around your coop. They're going to just be floating around. You'll see them in the coop, around the coop, anywhere where these chickens are going to be, almost like a dog when they start shedding in late fall. Another big sign though is that your egg production is going to drop. So hens are using so much of their energy to shed the feathers and grow new feathers that they just do not have enough energy then to produce eggs for you as well. It's partly due to the daylight at this time of year, but almost all of that is due to them simply not having enough energy to produce eggs and new feathers at the same time. Once you've identified though that your hens are molting, there actually is a way to tell what stage of the molt they're in. Hens will lose those feathers in a pretty predictable pattern. They lose them from their head first, then it moves more to the torso, and then they'll lose them from the butt last. So once their fluffy butts are gone and they're getting a new fluffy butt, that's when you'll know that your hens are almost done with that molt. So molting in general is going to take on average 7 to 8 weeks for every hen. However, there's a big range here from about 4 to 12 weeks that it could take for your hens to finish their molt. Every breed is different and every chicken is different. So what can you do then as a hen owner to help them along? There are a few different things you can do to try to at least support your chickens during this time. The first of which is to make sure you're giving them just a little bit more protein. You do want to try to switch to a feed that has more like an 18 to 20% protein range. And if you are giving snacks, you want to steer away from things like scratch grains and switch to more high protein snacks like mealworms and soldier flies. You want to make sure those hens have enough protein available to them that they can repair and produce those new feathers, because new feathers are almost 100% protein based. One note though about that feed, do make sure that you are switching back to more of a 16% protein feed after they're done with their molt, because high protein can be harmful to hens on a regular basis. On top of simply switching what type of feed, you also want to make sure they have more feed available. Hens are going to be burning through quite a few more calories when they're going through their molt. You want to make sure they have water and feed readily available all of the time, not to stress them out any further than they already are. While they're molting, you want to make sure their bedding is as fresh and fluffy as possible. Hens, when they are losing their feathers, of course, are going to be a little bit chillier, and it does tend to align with these colder months. So you want to make sure they have a warm place to go, since their feathers are not quite cutting it when they're going through the molt. If you have more pet hens and are prone to kind of picking them up and snuggling with them, you want to probably lay off of doing that while they're going through their molt, or at the very least be very gentle. New feathers are very tender, and if you bump into them, it can be a little bit uncomfortable and painful for the chicken. Keep a close eye on your flock while they're going through the molt. It's very common for some of those pen feathers to either get dislodged or injured and they'll start bleeding. If you notice a hen that's bleeding, you want to either remove them from the flock or at the very least keep a very close eye on them to make sure they're not getting bullied and picked on by the other hens. Hens are unfortunately a little ruthless and they will attack a chicken if they have an injury. And the last thing you can do for your hens to support them is to be patient with them. It's not their fault they have to get new feathers. So again, remember, this molt is going to take anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks, average being 7 to 8 weeks. In that amount of time, you're going to have a much lower egg production. The more you can support them though, the faster they'll get through that molt and they'll get back to giving you those eggs again. So I'll leave you with this advice. You cannot stop hens from molting. It is a natural process that is supposed to happen, but you can support them and speed the process up. So you want to do everything in your power for your birds. You will be back to having fluffy butts and plenty of eggs again here in no time. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe. This was Courtney from Ruby Red Farm, and I hope you all have a great day.